Hello and welcome viewers and subscribers of AVT News. My name is Mxolisi, the son of Ncube. I know many of you have been wondering where we had disappeared to. Well, every man has time to take a break, and my break was taken a few weeks ago when I had to travel back home to Zimbabwe for the first time in 12 years. So when I arrived there, a number of things popped up and I had to stay for some time. But we are back now. And I'm happy that when we come back, we are met with the good news that the Zimbabwe exemption permit moratorium has further been extended by another 6 months to December 31, 2023. And now, there are people who have been asking us if this, what they've been seeing on social media especially, is true. Yes, it is very true. The Zimbabwe exemption permit has been extended by a further 6 months up to December 31 this year. So what this means is that the Department of Home Affairs realized that there was no way, absolutely no way, that they would have met the 30 June cutoff, and that's because of a number of issues that I'm going to go through, and then after that, I'm going to relate, or rather say what it means for Zimbabweans and why, what Zimbabweans need to do to take advantage of this extension. The reason why, the main reasons why this extension was arrived at by the Department of Home Affairs was that the 30 June deadline was not, as you would know, for only waiver applications, but it was also for waiver applications, waiver adjudications, permit applications, and permit adjudications, which means that by the 30th of June, every Zimbabwean should have at least applied for the waiver and obtained an outcome which allows them to then apply for a permit. So the 30th June was meant for everything, including permit applications, to have been made. But now, because of the cumbersome process involved in the application for waivers, this deadline would not have been met, because today we're on the 8th of June and VFS is still overwhelmed by a number of things. Like there are still several applications which have been made and paid for, but for which submission slots cannot be obtained. You'd know that there's been an outcry by applicants that they applied online, they paid their money, but they've not been getting slots, because for the past, I think, 2 to 3 months, VFS has only been availing dates once a week, and at times not even once. So people have been crying that some of them paid 3 months ago, but they still cannot get slots, because when the slots are usually not available, and when they are available, they are just there for about 30 minutes to 1 hour, and then they are taken off again. So there are people who have paid, but they've not been given any slots. They've not been able to book any slots on the VFS website. There are also several submissions received, but which have not been adjudicated. There are people who applied and made the submissions. I mean, there are submissions at VFS more than a year ago who are still awaiting the outcome of their waivers. And I think it's about 3/4 of the people that applied we have not been given any outcome, whether positive or negative. Then there are many applicants who were given slots in June, which is just days before the cutoff date. There are some that I know were given 30 June in the afternoon to submit their documents of applying for a waiver. So this means that there could be no way that June would be a cutoff date, because there is no way that the Department of Home Affairs would have made an adjudication within hours, when they've been failing to make this adjudication in as many as 12 months. So due to the pressure and remaining number of submissions yet to be allocated dates, to the point of extending VFS working days to Saturdays, the slots remained scarce. Those who booked during the availability of slots on Monday would tell you that the only available dates were 7, then 17, 10, and 24. 10, 17, and 24 June, as Saturdays, and people have been wondering if VFS is now working on Saturdays. Yes, they did give 3 dates on Saturdays. That is the 10th, 17th, and 24th of June for people to go and submit, which means that still some people still have not yet been able to get the slots despite having paid and despite VFS extending these to Saturdays, because all the other days have been taken. Now, we should note that it takes between 4 and 7 months for Home Affairs to adjudicate a waiver application and reach an outcome, whether the outcome is positive or negative. So with some applicants given June 30 submission slots for a waiver application submission, it was not feasible to receive those and adjudicate them within minutes or hours. A great number of waiver applicants who submitted their applications last year are still awaiting their outcomes, as I've said. After getting a positive waiver outcome, ZEP applicants need to apply for a mainstream South African permit, and this is another cumbersome process which can take months. There was therefore absolutely no way June 30 could be feasible as the cutoff date, and leaving out some of the applicants, especially those who had begun the process, and others who would have others who had already paid would have further tightened the ongoing court case, whose main premise is that ZEP applicants were not given enough time to migrate from the ZEP to a mainstream South African visa. So new court cases would also have been launched because people would not just allow themselves to be used to apply over a year for a waiver. Then on the 30th of June, they've applied, they've paid, they've submitted. Then you say you are cutting off. They haven't been given a chance to apply for a mainstream permit. They haven't even been given the outcome of the waivers that they applied for. So I believe that the minister was given this by the VFS global staff or leaders or managers, to the effect that something had to be done, and the only thing that had to be done was to extend the deadline to the 31st of December. So what does this mean, and what are our permutations in as far as the extension to the 31st of December is concerned? What this means is that Zimbabweans do not have to relax. As I've said, it takes between 4 and 7 months. It can be more than 7 months as well for a waiver application to be adjudicated. Then after that, you still have to apply for a permit. We have seen in the past when Zimbabwe has moved from the DZP to the ZSP, deadlines had to be extended because the government could not meet the volumes of people who were applying for the ZSP. When we moved from the ZSP to the ZEP, the same happened again. It was extended, I think, by a further 2 years for people to end up getting their new permits, which is the ZEP. So the permit application process on its own, without having to be further made longer and more cumbersome by the availability of an option to apply for a waiver first before one can apply for a permit, was already taking a long time. So now with the waiver added upon, it will take even longer. So our advice is that don't relax. Go on and apply for waivers as soon as possible, so that you do away with the process of applying for a waiver and await the outcome. As soon as you get the outcome, you then apply for the permit, because the 31st of December deadline again is for both the waiver and the permit applications to have been done. And what are our permutations? I don't believe that by the 31st of December, government would have finished adjudicating even the waiver outcomes as well, because somebody who submits on the 30th of June will have July, August, September, October, November, December, that's 6 months to have had their outcome given so that they can then apply for a permit. It takes 4 to 7 months. We don't have 7 months between now and the end of December. And we are talking about also people who have applied, who have been waiting for more than a year or for close to a year for their waiver outcomes to be delivered so that they can then start the process of applying for a permit. But the the possibility of the extension further than December 31 is not a guaranteed one. So that is why I'm saying that Zimbabweans need to take advantage of this extension to apply for waivers. So if you have been sitting on the fence, believing that you cannot meet the June 30 deadline, so you are therefore no longer applying, or if you have been wondering if you still have enough time to apply for a new passport for those whose passports are expiring, please do it now. Rush and apply for your waivers. We hope that with the extension now, the dates or the slots will be made available again as they were always readily available at the beginning of last year, so that people who apply, when they have paid 2 days later, they can then book their slots and go and submit. So because the dates will be spread beyond June, we believe that the VFS will avail the slots so that people who have been outstanding, people who have been waiting to get slots, people who have been stressing over the availability of slots, people who have been believing that maybe they've been cut off, will start again to apply, have that confidence in the process, apply, pay their money, get their slots instantly. So this is what we had for you. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it. But also, if you do have some questions, please send them through. But note that there were absolutely no dates. There were no slots for people to go and submit, except maybe once a week. At times, not even once a week. There were weeks there where there were no slots at all. So it's not the problem of those who helped you to apply. It's not the problem of anybody else, but it has been a problem caused by the congestion at VFS offices. And then there are many people that I have been advising not to jump the gun by going to VFS offices, especially those that have been going to Rivonia to corrupt the system. You rush there, and then you are made to pay 520 rand. You book in Pretoria, then you go to book. Then you go and try and submit at Rivonia or at Pretoria in Brooklyn, just so that you can rush into the system and further cause more congestion in the system. You don't need to be doing that. There are many that I spoke to on WhatsApp that I told that there's no need for you to be corrupting the system, to be losing even more money, paying VFS officials so that they squeeze you in the queue. Just await the process. For as long as you have made the application and paid at the bank, the days will be made available. The slots will be made available. There's no way that you can be cut off. So please follow the process, but don't sit on your laurels. Apply as soon as possible so that when you get your outcome, you then move on to apply for a mainstream visa, hoping that the outcome that you receive would have been a positive one. Thank you very much. We'll be back again in another broadcast. Have a nice day, and we wish you all the best.